That's one occupation, one of many occupations that I didn't even cross my radar about. I would never want to be a director or anything like that. Nope, nope, nope. I'd be a race car driver. That I would do.
What? Where does that come from?
Because I have a race car now.
Wow. That's never
Wouldn't you?
crossed
I've
my
always wanted to
mind.
be a race car driver, don't you? Yeah, I know you do.
No, not a race car. Maybe a motorcycle racer, which I did for a while. But
you did that exactly.
Yeah. My life is so different now.
Give me another good occupation. What's something? Oh, I got one. I wanted to go to school for this one. I was dead serious, and I got equipment to do this. Audio engineer. I was going to do that.
I just knew I wanted to be wealthy and not work hard. And it happened to be buying and selling land was the easiest way for me to do that.
I love that. Hey, I love that Erin is there with us today. I'm happy you joined us. Thank you, Erin.
I didn't realize I would be a moderator, but I wanted to say hi.
Hello.
No, I'm going to promote you. If you show up, I'm promoting you.
I love it. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to move Brooklyn up here too, so you can. I'm going to invite you on the stage, and then I can make you a moderator, Brooklyn. You don't need to talk, but that way you can control things if you need to. So thank you. Now that the staff meeting is over,
Yeah.
Let's talk about why we're all here. So welcome. I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is my partner, Stephen Jack Vitala, and I've got some of my team in here, and a lot of Land Academy people in this room and a lot of people that are not Land Academy in this room. And we're so happy you're here. This is for anyone and everyone who wants to talk about, ask questions about everything that we do and anything about buying and selling land. We do all kinds of transactions. We do commercial, we do houses. Stephen's done office buildings and nursing homes and fill in the blank. But it always for us comes back to a couple things. The way we do the transactions is virtually the same, number one. And then number two is land is really our favorite. It's the easiest. We just recorded all of our shows today for our podcast next week. And one of the topics was, how to overcome buying property that you're never going to see. And we are really good at buying everything from rural vacant land to houses. We have House Academy. And when we were filming House Academy a year or two ago, we were in California, living in California at the time. I had to fly to Arizona because I was putting some content together to see some of the properties that we'd bought and sold. I wanted to put eyes on them and put some information about the properties into House Academy, and we'd never seen them. And it was like, this is what happened a year ago with this property. And it was so fun to stand there and look at the changes and the people living there. And it was really kind of cool. So, anyway, that's part of why we love land. So please feel free, raise your hand. Any questions you want to ask us. We have 16,000. You can read our bios, deals under our belts. And we have for years been very successful running and operating still to this day our own suite, land, and other investment company. We don't represent other people. We're not brokers. We're not agents. We buy our own properties and we sell our own properties, and then we keep the money.
Jill, start us off on a deal that you did this week or recently.
Okay. Well, I was going to share it. And the whole thing is why we're here now and why we do it is because we're done and happy and doing great. And we love sharing it with other people and helping them get there. And then if they need our help someday with some funding or something, then it might financially work out for both of us. Happy to fund deals and just help people anyway. So a deal this week. I just split I think it closed on Friday. It closed last Friday because I checked the bank account. I think it was Tuesday and saw the money posted. Jan, my transaction coordinator, said, "Hey, you need to look." Actually, let me go. I have the exact amount right here. It's amazing. This is this person's first deal, and I funded it. I'm closing, oh gosh, I don't know, 5 to 10 a week right now. I can't keep up with it. But the wire I'm trying to find the amount because it was really, really good. Did you see the wire come through? I'm like, yes, I did. Oh, I'm not finding, but it was something like uh, basically we split $90,000 in
It was. I
profit.
remember what it is. If I know the deal you're talking about, it was buy for 30, sell for 130,
that was it.
and it was
And
a
it was
small agricultural piece of property in Arkansas.
exactly. It was so great. So yeah, I'm not finding my note here with the money in it, but I'm like, yep, saw the transfer. Awesome. It's great. So bring it. Hey, AJ. AJ's going to ask some questions here. Let me get you up on the stage.
Every time a deal like that happens, I multiply times 12 to assume that we're going to do one deal like that a month. Ends up being $600,000 or $700,000 net.
I know you.
Hello.
Hey, AJ, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Well, hey, so Land Academy member. I see my partner Steven is up here also.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, bro. So we're actually brothers, partners and brothers. So and we still like each other. So that's good news.
Good
time.
Yeah. But my question is, so we do direct mail, what you guys teach and all that, and we listen to a bunch of other podcasts along with yours, and we're hearing a lot of chatter about texting. What is your opinion and take on text messaging for drumming up leads on the buy side?
Go for it. We have definitely gone down this path, and Steven's going to fill you in.
I'll give you the short answer is it's not allowed, and that there are severe penalties for solicitation via text message in a class action environment. And so if you spend a lot of time on the internet finding out who in some of the case law that was involved in class action suits, it's pretty scary. And there's a definable penalty for each offense. So no one sends one test message out to a landowner to say, hey, I want to buy a piece of property. You put it in a system. And if you're really ambitious, you're going to put it in a software type package scenario where you put it all in there and you send out 4,000. If you're like me, you're going to take it seriously and send out 4,000 messages a day or a minute or whatever you can figure out. Well, each of those penalties are hefty if it gets to that. So is it a great way to buy real estate? I don't know. I mean, I started down that path. We did a few text messages. I got a good response. Is it okay and legal? No, not at all. And it's not being enforced right now.
So the way we do it, like if you want to, like we do blind offers, you want to blind text someone and do that, that's where you could get in trouble. And that's what I think I've read like $1,000 a text fine, some crazy lawsuits that have happened. So when we started to dig into this, AJ, because I'm with you, it sounds like such a great idea. And we found that out. We're like, nope, we shut it right down. But
Gotcha.
once you have a communication with someone, that's no big deal. That's all day long, sure. So you're communicating with the seller, and they're like, now you're texting like, I didn't get the purchase agreement. You said you're going to take a picture and send it to me. This is the phone number I want you to use. Do that. That's totally fine.
I don't know if that's
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. I'll tell you a real quick story. Jill and I started a company called Car Academy. I don't know how long ago, maybe 2 years ago, probably. And spent tons and tons of money on it. Got a data source, just like Land Academy, where you have access to the data, and it was involved texting and all of that. And in the end, we didn't release it. We were hundreds of thousands of dollars into that. Jill and I both love cars, and we're hundreds of thousands of dollars into this product. If you still go to caracademy.com, something is still there. And we decided not to launch it for this exact reason. There's severe solicitation rules about using DMV data, motor vehicle data for any type of solicitation. So just be careful. There's a lot of opinions out there and I guess there's a lot of podcasts on this topic right now. And I'm pretty confident none of them are as accurate or honest as they should be. I just got a text message today before I started my workday from somebody who named my primary residence address and said, I want to buy your house.
Shut up, really?
Yeah, I can show it to you. It was terrible. The grammar was terrible. The punctuation was terrible, as always. But, and Jill and I don't live in this ultra cheap tract house. It's different than that. So it's a fad.
We thought about it. I mean,
sounds like the risk isn't worth it. I mean, the direct mail approach works really well. So
Right.
there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of people talking about it right now. And it didn't seem legal. It doesn't seem right, but I don't know. So thank you for your input.
You're welcome.
I think there's
5-minute Google search and you'll go, nope, not doing that.
I didn't start sending mail. I started sending faxes. And I wrote a program. This a lot of years ago to automate sending fax messages to real estate agents because everybody had a fax machine back then. And we bought a ton of property that way. And they very quickly adjusted the law and said you can't, you can't solicit people via fax. And then email came along, same thing. We all got a million messages about Viagra for a year. And then the spamming laws kicked in. And so the laws are there for texting. It's just not being enforced right now, but I'm sure it will be. All it takes is one overzealous attorney to find out what's happening here. Mm-hmm. I've settled multiple lawsuits on the receiving end of the lawsuit for unsolicited faxes, and it forced me to stop.
That was pre-Land Academy.
Yeah, I'll bet that was a great motivator.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Lawsuits motivate you. Yes.
That's awesome. Hey,
if we're done talking about AJ's question, I have a little bit more of a pointed one.
Nice.
So
whatever, brother, whatever.
Who's the older? Who's the older one here?
AJ's older.
Oh, got it.
But not by much.
Can you fight better, Steven?
I don't know. We've only been in one fight, but that was a lot of years ago. When before we were both 18. So
love it.
And we're in our 30s now. But anyway, so I was listening to your podcast, your interview with Luke Smith, and one of the things that you brought up was mobile home park properties. And we currently have one in Walker County, Georgia, that is zoned R3. And according to the zoning requirements, it's good for a mobile home park or a multifamily or pretty much any type of residential outside of like an RV park. And in your interview with Luke Smith, you had mentioned that you are in contact with like mobile home park developers or people that might be interested in buying that type of land. And I was curious, how did you find mobile home park developers or people that buy that type of land outside of just the standard stream of hiring a realtor and letting it go out on the MLS?
So I'll directly answer your question first, and then I'll tell you what I think you should do with this dirt, because it's hard to come by these pieces of properties right now. I call them special use properties. But anyway, I would go on to LoopNet or a site like Reonomy. Reonomy is not cheap. It's very expensive, but in my opinion, worth it. And I would find out who owns all the mobile home parks within maybe the state, probably the whole state. And it's a real short list, and you can talk about getting their phone numbers and all of their information. It's quick and easy. You might even be able to find somebody on Upwork or Fiverr that's got a subscription to it, so you don't have to get one, and they'll pull the list for you and send it to you in Excel. So now you've got a captive market. Somebody's going to buy that property. Then, and this is the second part of the answer to my question, I would dress this property up, complete with the drawings. I'd spend some money. Get some drawings together, maybe a rendering of what it would be like when it's done. And I would calculate what a capitalization rate would be if it was full. And so now you got a piece of property that is really just raw dirt, but on the internet, you're showing what's possible financially and visually with this piece of property from a mobile home park standpoint, which everybody wants, without going through a zoning change. And you will sell the hell out of that property in the first week. I would place it at like a 10 cap and on a pro forma 10 cap basis, and it's going to shock you how much you sell that for.
You know what that reminds me of? It's like you go online right now and you go, any hot area and you see a rendering of a spec home, and they price it that way, and they're pre-selling it with the home even. Sometimes it's just the dirt showing what's possible. Here's what the house could look like, and sometimes they're, we've seen them where you're paying right now for the home, and they're still working on the site, kind of thing. But it's just like that. It's brilliant.
If you trust an agent, even a specialization, mobile home park specialization agent or a land agent, they're going to screw it all up. You have to get that list and send everybody an email with the attachments and whatever presentation that you put together that says this is an off-market deal on July 3rd. Pick a day. We are going to list it with an agent, but right now it's off market. We'd rather deal with you directly because you own these 3 parks and list it.
You know they're looking for this stuff.
They will drop everything and buy this piece of property from you.
Can you spell Reonomy? I just want to make sure I'm not the best speller, so I just want to make sure I'm spelling it right.
Going from memory, it's like Reonomy. It's all one word. There's like 4 companies just like Reonomy that specialize in commercial real estate ownership data.
Yep.
And
REONOMY.com.
I think they're the best, but it always changes. So it's shocking. If you get into there, it's again really expensive per month. But if you go in there and just look up all the mobile home park owners in Georgia, and hit the button, you're going to get the amount of information that you're going to get is staggering. All their email addresses, their personal phone numbers. There might be a parent corporation and then all the people who own that and why and what they bought recently. It's shocking. Mm-hmm. It's inside information. Like if you had that on Wall Street, you would go to prison.
Okay. No, I appreciate the insight and the suggestions. Definitely look into that because, we're just kind of scratching our heads and thinking, wow, we don't come across this every day. So I just didn't quite know what to do with it.
They're going to want to know if it's on a city water and sewer. Every single one of those guys, that's the first question they ask. Because wells and septic are tough to deal with in some of these environments. So, this is me. I would not put $1 into the physical presence of. I would only make it look great online and do all the math for them and give them all the information. And the first person who writes a check gets it.
Oh yeah, it sounds like the more you're talking, the better of a deal this sounds because it right 2 lots away is the U.S. Postal Office. There's already multifamily adjacent to the property, single family across the street. So
how'd you get that? How'd you come to own this?
Just sending out a mailer to Walker County, Georgia.
Wow,
it's a 3.5 acre lot. Road touches it. Highway's on the other side, so it's bounded by a major road and a side road.
Congratulations. That's fantastic. Good for you guys.
We've been Land Academy members since 2019, I think, something like that. Or we incorporated our LLC in 2020.
Yeah, 2019 is when we joined Land Academy after going through that other guy's program.
So how did you find Land Academy in general? Did it make sense to you? Did you guys own companies before this? Did it make sense to you? Did you go through a huge learning curve? Can you just tell us a little bit about it?
I'll go first, Stephen. I owned a couple e-commerce businesses prior, but never anything in real estate. It was one of those, I always knew I wanted to be involved in real estate. I just didn't know how. And then we were listening to a podcast and somebody was talking about the other guy, and we went through his course and we tried it and went, this doesn't feel right. There's got to be an easier way. There's got to be more to this. And so that's when we, typed in the other guy's name plus the word competitor, and you guys came up and we went through your stuff. But the actual course, your course, the original one, and I haven't been through all of 3.0. I think Steven has. Very intuitive, made a lot of sense. After sending our first couple of blind offers, we tweaked the letter a little bit. We work in a lot of non-disclosure states, and we got a few bumps on the head that we just felt more comfortable putting some extra verbiage on that letter. So we modified a few things to make it our own, came up with our own CRM, but generally the course has been fantastic. And we've listened to, when we joined, we went back in time and we've listened to every single podcast since you guys started doing them. So
wow.
We're dedicated.
But it can't be all good, right? You got to say, do you have any criticism? Because I'm always trying to be better here.
I don't. Steven, you got anything?
Like you don't find stuff that Jill says informative.
No, I enjoyed the brevity. right? Because it can't all just be cut and dry, just factual. And that's, you know, we're always keeping an ear out for little gems here or like resources, maybe. And right, that's why we listen to a lot of podcasts with other people in the same real estate space just to get a holistic approach. But yeah, like AJ said, we've listened to every episode you guys ever posted. We try to stay current within, I think, a week of you guys listing it. Um, but yeah, like AJ said, I dabbled into e-commerce as well, not as in depth as AJ. And then we were listening to what was it? The Side Hustle Nation with Nick Loper, and he had a guest on there. I can't remember his name now, but he mentioned wholesaling land. And that's how we found our first guy. And then, as AJ said, we found you guys. We listened for, I want to say, 2 months or so before we decided, or 2 or 3 months, listening to just your guys' podcast before we decided to pull the trigger and join. And yeah, I really haven't looked back since. We started with, AJ, you can correct me if I'm wrong, $10,000.
Five. I, I,
5,000.
I,
Sorry.
I put up five, and we spent every dollar of it on our first property and sold it for 15, 9 days after we bought it in a non-disclosure state. So that was the hook.
I'll tell you,
Excellent.
that's awesome. If you guys are interested, I'd love to have you on our podcast as guests, and you can tell your
Yeah.
story. Love to, actually.
Yeah, we'd
Yeah.
definitely be willing to do that. Absolutely.
I'm going to have my assistant Gabriel contact you with the information that we have in the Land Academy kind of Rolodex, and we'll set up a good time that works for you.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Are you
that sounds
guys
that'd be
great.
great.
in the same state?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually just moved to the other side of the state. Not to get away from him or anything, but we used to live like a quarter mile apart until last
Fun.
week.
You know, one
Are
of the
you
shows, Jill
related?
and I just recorded all the shows for next week, the podcasts. And one of the shows we just did was, how to find a partner that's right for you, and we proceeded to butcher that. So that's one of the things I'm going to ask you guys on the show is how do you find working with your family and keep all the sharp objects away, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd love to speak to that because it's not always, rainbows and sunshine. So we're
No,
brothers first. We disagree often and fiercely. So we'd love to speak to that.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, at the end of the day, right, it's family above business, and we keep the two separate for fairly well.
Money solves everything. So I just like whenever Jill and I are having a moment, I just look at our bank balance and say, yeah, it's worth it. She's right.
Thanks. That's good.
Yeah, no, that's it, right? So, yeah, no, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but yeah, we really enjoyed the program. Really enjoy listening to you guys. It's a great community. Um, I'm on. I'm more of a lurker on Discord than a participator, but there's some good stuff there. And if I hadn't gotten my question answered here today, I was going on a Clubhouse. I was going to ask it on Discord. So, thanks for allowing me up on stage.
You're
Sure, for sure.
welcome. Glad you guys are here. Yeah, anybody else wants to raise your hand, jump in, ask a question, talk about anything, please do. Just tell us some of your experiences. You want to talk about some deals or just anything on your mind. We'd love to connect with you. There's some interesting people in this room. Make sure too you kind of go through and check out profiles and follow anybody that you really connect with here, and then us and our land investing club, and then you'll get notified too when we go live. I haven't been on here as much as I like to, but it's fun when you follow people and like I will sit and have time and just troll Clubhouse, and then I jump into other people's rooms, and then you get notified. If you follow someone, you get notified when they do that, so you could follow them and and see what are they listening to and what else is going on. So I'm not obviously in the directing actors room, but it's in my feed somehow. That is so funny. You know what probably it is? I jumped in a room one time because I can't think of the guy's name. Oh, Wesley Snipes. That's what it was on Clubhouse. That's probably how it got on my feed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll listen to Wesley Snipes. So that's where it was.
So it sounds like the Holbrook brothers fell backwards into this great commercial piece of land from a mailer, a blanket mailer, which is what we advocate in the beginning. But what they really did and could do now, if this works, and it will on the south side for them, is what I call a specific use mailer. And so if you've got a data set, an assessor data set that for whatever reason feels like pre-existing zoning is important in that data set and you download it, you can do a specific use mailer for specific types of zoning that you think, somebody might want to buy to make a trailer park, for sake of argument. In Arizona, for whatever reason, trailer parks and storage rental facilities are the same pre-zoning. So it's not hard to concoct in any state, not just Arizona, where there's zoning as part of the data set, a specific use mailer, and buy some serious properties. Especially what will probably happen to these guys is they're going to find somebody in Georgia who's really interested in buying this type of property, and they're going to say, please keep it coming. I want to buy more.
That was my first thought.
You can really build a quick, if you got a buyer like that, and it doesn't cost a lot or spend a lot of time to do a mailer like that. In fact, it's cheaper and easier to do a specific use mailer than it is a blanket mailer. And now you're selling 2 and 3, 4 properties to the same group. And if it's a big company and they're national, you can move into other states and do it.
Mm-hmm. That was my first thought too. Once you have one good relationship like that, watch what happens. You're going to be their guys.
Jill and I do specific use mailers at least once every 3 months, sometimes more.
Mm-hmm. Usually for me, it's with a broker. I find once I get with a good guy in an area and he's like, you know what, I could sell these all day long. I'm like, really? Give me a little more information. All right, here's in this part of the state, this part of the county, anything between 5 and 15 acres, fill in the blank. Then I'm like, watch me. I'll just queue them up all day long. And they love that. I love those relationships.
That's how we built our House Academy business too. We would buy a property on a blanket mailer, a house that needed to be renovated. Jill would and typically back in the day, hold an open house, believe it or not, where you sit there, meet the 20 or so people that came in that were renovating houses in the immediate area. And now there's your buyer base. And then the next mailer, you don't have to ever hold that type of house again, type of open house. You got built-in buyer base.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So what else is on everyone's mind? What's going on? Right? Everybody's so busy like us. It's kind of fun. One of the shows we recorded today it was all about dealing with multiple buyers. It's the best scenario. I love it when this happens. When you've got, you put this property up, here comes 3 people like, oh shoot. And, and trying to figure out how to juggle multiple buyers at one time. I love it. I'm going to get Ebru up on stage here to answer some questions. Hopefully you can accept here in a minute and jump up here with us and ask away. Might be finishing up our call or getting up here. But anyway, that's what's going on in our world right now. I'm like, shoot, I'm trying not to sell things that fast. This is the best possible situation. Steven's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I didn't try. What are you talking about? It's like, how come that's already sold? Maybe we should have priced it higher. I'm like, I know, but
yeah,
I didn't, it just kind of happened. So totally. All right. Well, Hebrews trying to get up on here. Yeah. Brooklyn, do you want to say hello and just kind of, talk about what's going on in your, Amy has an idea. Amy just kind of threw you under the bus.
Yeah.
That's okay.
No problem. Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody that Saturday is the first day of Career Path Session 4. I think the first and the last session of each class is my favorite, where we get to hear where everybody has come from, how they got here, why they decided to do Career Path, and their short-term and long-term goals. And then it's always fun on the last day to see how far they've come. They've actually met their goals and they're on the way to to meeting the long-term goals.
Jack, I don't know if you got to read it, but in Discord right now, and if anybody here in Land Academy, if you've not read Brooklyn's amazing, awesome thing that she wrote, she came to me last night and said, I just put this down on paper. I know you didn't ask for it, but this is my take on career path and what I have seen as an outsider looking in. And because Brooklyn, just full disclosure, Brooklyn works for us and Brooklyn runs our career path entity. It's a high level enclosed mastermind like 10-week program. It's amazing. And Brooklyn wrote this beautiful thing, and I said, "Will you please put that in Discord and just share that?" It was so awesome. So, Jack, did you have time to read that yet?
I did see it, and I was amazed. And my first thought was, Brooklyn needs to write more.
She does.
I was super impressed. Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Exactly. It was really, really good. Just talking.
No, Discord's a blast. That's the truth of it. Discord is for people, and I'm Discord. Career Path is a blast. We're not here to sell anything. I think there's 2 or 3 seats left. It's for people who want this to be their career, whether they're brand new or whether they're like the Holbrook brothers who've got a bunch of deals under their belt and they want to add a couple zeros to how much money they're making. So, and that's the thick of it. And we do have fun. It's a lot of fun, I think.
Exactly.
I hope I have fun. I get a big kick out of teaching this.
It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch you teach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Chip, how are you? I think you're up here. Hey, Chip, do you have a question or you want to comment? Jump in.
Probably an audio thing.
That's what I'm thinking. Because I've got you up here, but we cannot hear you yet.
Just one time, I would like to, and I'm talking about myself, log onto a Zoom call or something like that and not have camera or microphone issues.
Oh, I think it's the way of the world now. I get excited when I go onto like American Express and the website has a 404 error. Because I'm like, yes, it's not just me. It happens to you too. That's so funny. I love it.
Well, while we wait for Chip, I've got another question.
Sure.
Yeah, bring it, AJ.
What is your guys' take on the economy and the situation with house prices and all of that? What are you doing in your business to prepare for possibly a recession?
I love this because this was the topic that I brought to Stephen yesterday, and we recorded about it a bit today. Go, Stephen.
Yeah, so I think there's no doubt about it. Mortgage rates are up higher than 5% for many, many years. It hasn't been the case, so it's slowing some of the growth down. On the positive side, new housing starts for this week and last week skyrocketed over the prior weeks. So, and people who do housing starts, they don't do this stuff on accident. They're paying attention to economic data pretty severely. And here's the real kicker of it. This generation, the millennial generation, is the largest ever in this country. And specifically, people who are turning 30 to 35, their prime first home buyer age, are more educated and many, many, many work at home. And so a lot of houses and a lot of real estate's being consumed. It's getting slowed a little bit because of these the interest rate, mortgage rate scenario, but I don't think there's any signs of this stopping in the next 24 to 36 months. Then I think it's going to plane out. And I'll tell you the truth, Jill and I are going to dust off House Academy when that happens and start buying houses again because it's just too hot. The markets are too hot and too competitive to buy houses. So there's always a time to make money. Jill and I got pounded on this last economic downturn land-wise. I mean, got absolutely pounded. The only reason we didn't file bankruptcy at all is because we didn't have any debt, any land debt. That's what saved us. So there's always a way to make money in land. And I don't think that a recession is coming, but I do think it's going to pretty seriously plane out. So that's my 2 cents on the Thursday call, which is today, actually after this, 2:00 it's a closed group for the Land Academy group. I talk about this every Thursday and we look at the statistics week by week by week, and you can see it's starting to slow. That's my take on it.
Love it. I'm watching it too.
It needs to start to slow though. So
It does.
it's just been nuts.
I agree.
Yeah, it's been over the top for sure. And with the rising interest rates, I'm kind of expecting a slowdown or a leveling off at least.
Yep.
But curious to see what happens. So I bought my first home in October of '07. So I bought at the height of the market, and what was supposed to be a quick fix and flip, I lived there for 10 years because of that bubble. So, yeah, so little hand shy.
Yeah, the way we were buying and selling land back then was no longer feasible. So we turned to buying houses in the west side of Phoenix for $20,000 to $30,000 and selling them for 60 to 70 to people that were renovating them. So we could eat. So, but we've since learned we had a single point of revenue failure back then, and now we've got 9 or 10 points of failure, which all could fail at the same time.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you are silly. No, I was going to say, the thing with the markets and when they're so hot, we look at land the same as we look at houses. If it's too hot and there's going to be bidding wars, I'm not playing, no matter what it is. And I've had people bring me. It's kind of funny because we have several. We all have several friends, right, who are agents, and then they hear what you're doing and you throw out there, like, I do houses too. And once in a while they'll come across something and they're like, we have this one agent in particular in Southern California, this sweet friend of ours. And she brought us what she thought was a good deal. And we originally looked at this deal and like, yeah, that could be a good deal. See how cheap you can get it. We'll fund it. You want to run the whole show. That's great. And then the next thing you know, it clearly was such a good deal. 48 hours later, she's calling us going, we have to hurry up. We need to get the best offer in. There's 10 other interested parties. And she didn't understand when I said, and we're out. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, because now it's not a good deal. I'm not going to do that. I need to be in good markets. I'm not going to play these games because now I'm going to lose money. I'm not going to, I won it because I was the highest bidder. That's not what we do in any situation. So it's interesting watching housing, and I'm going to see how this plays out. But even in land, when you see us like especially when you're buying land and you look at a market and maybe you're looking at something and you're like, oh no, great, I could be one of 50 of the exact same size property and the exact same attributes. I don't want to do that. How am I going to stand out?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'll tell you, I watched, strangely enough, the progress with that Starlink is making, because that will massively, and it's pretty close now, massively expand where people are buying houses and how far out people live and all of that, especially younger people who are adventurous and, love the idea of, a small farm and a great internet connection and are still making big city money. I think that we're headed, that's going to be a way of life here, if it's not already. And so for land investors, and let's just call it rural property, even small rundown, we've all seen these properties on the internet for 20, 30, 40, $50,000 in rural areas, especially in the Midwest and the deep Southwest, really in the deep South too. It just screams opportunity for flips, or, I get really personally jacked looking at real estate like that, and thinking about living in an environment like that. I think it's really healthy, and it's here to stay.
Hey, Chip, when you can, jump in. No, we still have no audio. Okay.
Still no Chip.
No.
It's interesting you talk about bidding wars. We just mailed a very competitive county, and a lot of the responses were, well, hey, we got your letter and we got this letter, and theirs is 10, 15, whatever the number is, higher than yours. You need to come up to this price if you want a deal. And we're passing right and left on these things for the same reason. There's no emotion in this. The numbers have to be there. And if somebody else messed up their mailer and they're at 90% or a little over retail in a couple of the stories we've gotten, that's not really my deal. So we are not interested in that at all. But on the flip side, we also had an individual come to us and say, hey, these guys didn't answer their phone. Your offer's lower, but you answered your phone. So let's do this thing. And so we're pursuing that. And, that's just that's just basic business etiquette 101, answering your phone. You got to be open to do business. So it's been kind of interesting watching some of, it feels like from when we got into in 2019 to now that there's a lot more people in the space doing this and doing the blind offers, and we're mailing over the top of each other. And I know there's a lot of counties, and I believe in the system and the number of parcels. You can't outguess the reasons people want to sell their land. So, I mean, we're still all in, but it's just curious to see so many people in the space that don't have the basic answer your phone, return the email, follow through.
Absolutely.
That's giving a surprising competitive edge to Stephen and I. So
good for you guys. I'm glad that you understand that. The other thing too is that if you have 10 or 20,000 letters in play at any given time, let's say every month, you're going to buy some real estate. You're going to buy some crazy numbers amount of dirt. So if you just focus on that, I'm not saying this to you guys. You already know this. I'm saying this to listeners. You just focus on that. The numbers will create themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. True. Stephen and I were talking about this morning. We talk every morning about everything. But anyway, we were talking about it and griping about this and complaining about that. And I said, you know what solves all these problems? More mail.
Yeah.
Let's send more mail. I'm not sure it's what he wanted to hear, but that's all right.
It's good that you guys talk every morning because Jill and I don't.
You got people for that, I'm sure.
That's part of what helps our relationship.
Can you hear me now?
Yay, we got you, Chip.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, wow. What an effort just to tell you thank you for answering my question about Airtable on Discord the other day. No, but I tried to chime in like 3 times and, my audio was broken for whatever reason. I apologize. But great points, Jack, what you were just making about, the movement to being rural vacant land. I think it's certainly coming, especially as internet becomes more available in rural areas. Side note, I happen to be in Texas right now visiting a 200-acre tract that I have. I've resold now for the first time, and it's just amazing sometimes when you get on the land because Google Earth just doesn't do it justice. When you get out there and see it, this tract's an hour and a half north of Austin, and it's just rolling hills, giant oak trees, creeks, ponds, just views for miles, just everything that you want. And so it's, sometimes we're so used to be behind the computer. When you actually get out there and see what you're selling, it really makes sense.
Yeah, you got it bad. You're in this for life. You're like me because we just recorded a show about should you go see the land or not, and it'll air next week. And Jill said, every time we go see a piece of property, it's like, well, we should keep this, And
yep.
So there's positives and negatives to going to see the dirt.
Exactly.
Well, my buyer, who originally when we spoke was really thinking about subdividing, that's kind of what I catered to in my marketing, my mailings, what I'm trying to do for my network of buyers that I have. Ironically, I just pulled this guy off an ad on Instagram, and he bought it sight unseen or put a contract in it sight unseen last week. Not one of my typical buyers, but now he will be. I think after this one. And he's just talking the same way. Like, we're going to go ahead and go through the subdivision process, but probably is going to peel off about 50 acres to keep for himself and his friends, and may sell off the rest later. But just gets out there, he's like, "Oh wow, yeah, my wife and her girlfriends are having a blast riding horses out here, and we're going to let the crews from my business come up here and camp and ride ATVs and do all that stuff." And it's like, yeah, it's the dream, man. You can use it and have a blast, and then go ahead and get your money back plus net $1 million at the end of the day.
Great
Doesn't
tax
suck.
situation. Everybody wins. Yep.
Yeah, that's the other thing is he's avoiding the short-term capital gains if he sits on it for a year before he moves it. So just neat property, neat marketing, and basically I'm filling a need that this guy doesn't have time to figure out to do himself.
Brilliant.
That's great.
I'm so glad.
Glad it's worked for you, Chip. It's good to talk to you once again.
It's working. The goal is to get in front of you guys for 10 weeks, ultimately in career path. But I've got to lock down a few more of these first. And then I'm midstream football season, so I can't be there on a Saturday. And then I live in Florida, so summers and Saturdays don't mix unless we're on a boat. So
Got
I'm
it.
looking forward to go back to weekly, and then I knock down a few more deals to where I can justify everything.
Well, good. I'll put you down. Okay, Chip, you're number 1 for career path number 5, which will be in October on a Wednesday. How's that?
I should
We'll
have
keep the
closed
spot
the
for
deals
you.
by then.
Yep. So we made it official. We're doing October 12th. That'll be the last one for the year. So it's October 12th to like December 14th, something like that. So yeah, we did this Saturday session because we know a lot of people that couldn't how to do that. It's like, okay, but we have a lot more people that like, I need my Saturdays. So yep, you're
Yeah, 3 little
good.
kids were pretty busy on Saturdays.
I understand. Exactly. So good. That'll be fun. I look forward to seeing you then. So
Cool.
anyone,
Thanks for everything.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you, Chip. Thanks for joining.
Thanks. So
Glad
yeah,
you
anyone.
and all your college degrees could figure out the microphone situation.
It's just one finance degree.
Awesome. I love it. So yeah, anybody on this call who is not a Land Academy member and wants to be a fly on the wall with whatever this member call is that we're talking about, that like 100 people show up on every day, you are welcome to be with us. So all you've got to do is send a note. It's today in an hour and 15 minutes. So it will be at 2:00 Pacific time. We do it every Thursday. We typically go an hour to 2. We're usually pushing an hour and a half or 2 hours. And it is our time to really, and it's a closed Zoom environment where we're looking at deals, we share, we screenshot, we talk about picking counties, we talk about deals, we talk about anything and everything that we do in our business. And if you want a one-time invite, we'd love to have you just send a note to support@landacademy.com. And even today, my team will get you on the call today if you want to join us. Are you going to be on there, Chip?
I'm planning on it. I was going to
Okay.
ask, can I show you a townhouse I just got in contract on there?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, yes. We'd love to see it.
Okay,
totally.
cool. Cool, cool. I
It
just got
crushes
one
me.
this week.
Every
Mhm.
time we do the Clubhouse thing, I'm like, I reach for my keyboard to try to share my screen to explain what I'm talking about, and I just can't do it. So in that
That's
environment, we can do that, obviously.
exactly.
Cool. I'll tee it up. I'm traveling around because I'm not at home. I'm in Texas, so I'll try to get on there early so that I can post it up because I'm meant to meet someone later.
Okay, good.
Great.
We'll watch for you.
Thank you.
So that will be cool.
I
Good.
think it's a score. I think you'll like it.
Oh, cool. We can, no matter when you pop it in, I'll make a note here and we can go down and try to, if it's in there, I'll find you and queue you up first.
FYI, because I know I can't talk on the call later. I'm a broker in Central Florida, and so I did the comps, and they look great to me. I just like having another outside eyes just to validate that I'm looking good.
For
Nice.
sure.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
That'll be awesome. Good. Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been awesome. I'm going to wrap it up here and get ready for our call. Like I said, now it's in an hour and 10 minutes. This will give Jack and I a few minutes to kind of meet. We still have not really talked today. We've
Yeah.
been doing all kinds of content and good stuff. And so we can connect and grab a little bite and join up with all our community here in a little bit. And again, if you want an invite, just send a note to support@landacademy.com. Otherwise, you can find us here every first and third Thursday of the month. Just go into the Land Investing Club and follow that, or follow me, and you will get notified. So you don't have to worry about remembering. Thank you, Jack. And thank you, Chip.
Thank you,
And
Jill. Great hosting as always.
thank you. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Stephen, everyone, for your great content, and Brooklyn and my team for being there and being amazing. We appreciate you. And we'll see most of you in just a little bit. And have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Bye.